Welcome to this lore video on Servitors. All information from this video comes from the Wrath and Glory Core Rulebook, the Kill Team Typhon Dossier, the Forsaken System Player's Guide, Litanies of the Lost, Graveyard Shift, and Redacted Records. In the vast expanse of the Imperium of mankind, the line between life and utility is thin, and often meaningless. Across its worlds, individuals who become a burden to their overseers are not executed or discarded. They are instead transformed. Servitors, the lobotomized fusion of flesh and machine, are one of the most horrific yet essential components of Imperial society. They are the end result of a process that strips away personhood and rebuilds the body into a programmable asset. Criminals and vagrants are also used in creating servitors. This is not seen as punishment, but as a form of salvation. Their flesh now serves the Omnissiah more purely than it ever could in life. Finally, on occasion when needed, the bodies of servitors are sometimes vat-grown. This allows for a more customized profile with which the Mechanicum can work with. The process is brutally efficient, and indeed, efficiently brutal. A chosen, or sometimes captured individual is strapped to a surgical slab where their memories are erased through lobotomization. Vital functions are preserved, but higher thought is excised. Neural inhibitors are installed to block disobedience. Augmetics replace limbs, eyes, and sometimes entire skeletal sections. A subdermal data core is implanted, filled with command routines keyed to their assigned role, be it welding, hauling, or killing. Each conversion is carried out according to sacred rites. Tech priests intone Binharic litanies and inscribe electroglyphs into the person's flesh. These acts are not viewed as surgery, but as sanctified offerings to the machine god. Once converted, the individual is no longer recognized as human. The Imperium does not mourn them. Their identities are erased. Their designations are logged in Mechanicus archives. Their only remaining purpose is function, to obey, complete tasks, and endure. In the rare event that a servitor malfunctions or strays from protocol, it is deactivated and recycled without ceremony. Servitors may sound like a horrifying prospect that would alert man to the horrors of the Imperium, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. They are commonplace, background, and more often than not, ignored and invisible. And yet, unsettling whispers persist. There are reports, unconfirmed and easily dismissed by the Mechanicus, of servitors that hesitate, that hum forgotten songs, that twitch in response to names once theirs. Whether these are echoes of the soul or simple feedback errors is irrelevant to their masters. A servitor is not a person, it is a tool, and tools are not permitted to remember. Some servitors are designed for industrial efficiency, others are shaped for battle, and a few are made for tasks so horrific that even tech priests whisper their designations behind sealed vox masks. Here are the most notable types of servitors documented throughout the Imperium. Combat and military servitors. The most recognizable are the combat servitors, once guardsmen, criminals, or failed Skitarii initiates, now transformed into weapons platforms clad in flesh. They are often equipped with crude melee augments, integrated flamers, or basic shielding. Their minds are reduced to combat loops, triggered by proximity and guided by command pulses. Closely related are gun servitors, who sacrifice mobility for firepower. Armed with heavy bolters, arc rifles, or las weapons grafted to their limbs, these units are designed to suppress, hold choke points, or reduce enemy positions to ash. They do not think tactically, they simply lock on and fire until they are empty or destroyed. One of the more prominent entries of a gun-type servitor is the Cataphron Battle Servitor. Once human in mind, but now stripped of all emotion and independent will, the Cataphron Battle Servitor functions solely as a living weapon under the command of the Adeptus Mechanicus tech priests. Unlike the more common servitors that fulfill a wide range of menial and technical roles across the Imperium, Cataphrons are significantly larger, more heavily armed, and far more destructive. There are two primary variants of the Cataphron Battle Servitor, each tailored to meet specific battlefield needs. The the Kataphron Breacher and the Kataphron Destroyer, deployed according to the tactical objectives of their tech-adept masters. Far more massive are Ogryn Loader Servitors, forged from vat-grown human stock. These units are often used in industrial zones or explosive entry operations. Their bulk allows them to tear open blast doors or carry reactor components unaided, though their mental processes are so slow that even direct commands must be simplified into binary gestures. Industrial and maintenance servitors. The Mechanicus does not assign human hands to tools when a servitor can be wired in instead. Fabrication servitors operate within manufactorums and forge lines, assembling weapons, processing ore, or maintaining machine temples. With dozens of mechadendrites and redundant logic cores, they are capable of running entire sections of production with minimal oversight. Medici servitors serve an entirely different need: battlefield triage, crude surgery, and corpse preservation. Their understanding of anatomy is precise but uncaring. When they cut, it is to stabilize. When they inject, it is to preserve. They are not healers. They are organic maintenance units. Tasks given to servitors are typically more mundane, like those given to janitorial servitors, built with scrub brushes, fluid hoses, and chemical sprayers, endlessly clean stations, cells, and temples. While their duties are simple, their programming can be literal. If a character is marked as unclean, biologically, spiritually, or behaviorally, these units may attempt to cleanse them forcibly. There are also many servitors in the service of those who wish to praise the Emperor, converting and repurposing servitors to carry armaments, equipment, incense, flags, vox broadcasters, and relics. A prime example of these are the Cenobite servitors under the service of the chaplains of the Black Templars. Security and enforcement servitors. Enforcement roles are filled by warden servitors, often equipped with shock mauls, taser staves, or tear gas dispersers. Found in prisons, quarantine zones, or Mechanicus strongholds, these units are unflinching in applying force. They do not escalate, they neutralize. Within the controlled folds of Mechanicus military doctrine, the most lethal expression of servitor deployment is found in the formation of the battleclade, a coordinated kill team composed entirely of cybernetic operatives. These units are not random battlefield reinforcements or passive guards, but purpose-built tactical cells designed to reclaim sacred technology, purge corrupted locations, and operate with cold, calculated efficiency. Each battleclade is commanded by a techno-archaeologist, a high-ranking tech priest obsessed with the recovery of lost knowledge. These leaders direct the team with obsessive precision, prioritizing sacred artifacts, data fragments, and techno-archaeological objectives. Supporting them is a servitor underseer, a junior priest whose role is to manage the battlefield execution of commands, distributing tasks, rerouting power, and enforcing behavioral stability across the team. The team itself consists of several specialized servitor variants, each tailored to a unique operational role. Combat servitors, armed with meltaguns or phosphor blasters, provide frontline suppression. Gun servitors act as mobile weapons platforms, eliminating entrenched threats. Breacher servitors clear barriers or enemy ranks using lascutters and hydraulic pincers. Auto-proxy servitors gather tactical data via Aquilon eye systems, feeding target telemetry into the team's network. Technomedic servitors perform emergency battlefield repairs on their allies, extending operational viability under fire. Efficient, cold, devoted. The battleclade is the embodiment of the Mechanicus creed, where individuality is erased, flesh is corrected, and loyalty is coded line by line. Across the Gilead system, Mechanicus expeditions and inquisitorial observers have encountered units far beyond the standard templates, specialized constructs deployed to the edge of what is considered doctrinally sound. Some exist to recover ancient knowledge. Others persist in corrupted forms, resisting shutdown and clinging to forbidden purpose. The next section discusses and reveals some of the uses and discoveries within adventure hooks and plots found within redacted records, so as a potential player, you may wish to skip to the next chapter. Among the most methodical deployments is the Iota Nu Archaeology Maniple. This specialist division of the Adeptus Mechanicus utilizes purpose-built servitors for xenotechnological excavation. Outfitted with precision augmetics, structural integrity scanners, and void-stable environmental systems, these servitors are trusted to navigate ancient ruins and hazardous research zones with minimal human oversight. While officially controlled, there have been instances where Iota Nu servitors developed unexpected behavioral traits, including non-essential preservation protocols, unprogrammed retreat responses, and refusal to release recovered artifacts. Whether this is the result of Xenos influence or emergent logic flaws remains under investigation. More troubling is the case of the luminous abattoir discovered aboard the derelict space hulk Compostela. This facility, once a scriptoria, had been overtaken by warped servitors, scribes fused to data printers and cogitator arms, endlessly transcribing passages from the heretical Liber Servitium. These constructs, though clearly once human, had become single-purpose monstrosities, repeating their task even through structural damage and mutilation. They attacked intruders not from programming, but seemingly to protect the continuity of their transcription cycle. No active controller or commanding tech priest was found. The servitors were operating independently, sustained by corrupted logic cores and ritual repetition. Equally unnerving is the emergence of the Vox Angelus, a servitor design originally intended for doctrinal amplification aboard ships and in Mechanicus enclaves. These units were once ecclesiastical preachers and choir leaders, repurposed into living voxcasters. They transmit binharic litanies and Mechanicus sermons across wide areas, but reports have surfaced of their broadcasts causing neural instability, cognitive collapse, and unanticipated subservience among listeners. Some Mechanicus sources quietly admit that the Vox Angelus may contain embedded subroutines capable of rewriting local obedience hierarchies, a potential tool of control, or an unintentional side effect of doctrinal excess. Servitor models start at the Rogue Trader era, all the way back in 1989. These models look strikingly more human than their later counterparts. Next, these models would see two newer additions during the Rogue Trader era in 1993 that would resemble what we know as modern servitors. During 2003 and the third edition, the servitor range would be expanded by two gun servitors, one with a plasma and the other with a multi-melter. Fourth edition in 2005 brought in a whole host of servitor models alongside the Tech Marine. These models were called the Worker Servitor, the Gun Servitor, and the Combat Servitor. 8th edition would give us two medical servitors from both the Cities of Death terrain and the Objective Markers boxes. Necromunda would have Deacon Malakev, who, whilst not specifically mentioned as being a servitor and seems to have personality and functions intact, would certainly make an excellent model for one. Kill Team would release an Imperial Agents kill team that included a servitor in its ranks. Games Workshop released a limited edition Inquisitor model named Inquisitor Ostromandius, who has a Vox Servitor model named Stentor 152. Finally seen here is the Kill Team battleclade that I've covered in more detail previously in the video. In Wrath and Glory, servitors offer far more than mechanical stats or incidental flavour. They are instruments of world building, thematic depth, and narrative tension, equal parts setting detail and storytelling opportunity. When used effectively, servitors can reinforce the dark, dehumanized reality of the Imperium and provide compelling moments of horror, mystery, and moral ambiguity. At their most basic, servitors can enhance environmental storytelling. They are the Imperium's silent labour force, and they should feel ever present. A servitor scrubbing blood from a hive floor as an active gunfight rages nearby, a data thrall slowly reciting half-corrupted equations in a forgotten machine temple. Such moments require no explanation, but build immersion and mood. They remind players that they live in a world where utility trumps humanity, and where the line between tool and person has long since eroded. Beyond mere atmosphere, servitors can function as uncanny NPCs, machines that occasionally hint at a human past, a servitor that reacts to a familiar name, one that repeats a prayer long purged from the local canon, another that hums an old lullaby in binary. These narrative hooks can be used to build suspense, suggest incomplete memory wipes, or foreshadow deeper mysteries. They work especially well in investigative or horror campaigns, where such anomalies may signal corruption, warp influence, or forbidden tampering. Servitors are also ideal as guardians, hazards, or traps. Their strength lies in their unwavering obedience. A gun servitor might be hard-coded to fire on anyone lacking a specific biometric signature, while a breacher servitor could be rigged to open a corridor by dismembering intruders. A misprogrammed technomedic might mistake an injured PC for a malfunctioning cogitator component and attempt to perform corrective surgery. These encounters are made more terrifying by the fact that servitors cannot be reasoned with. They simply act. Beyond individual encounters, servitors serve as excellent clues or foreshadowing devices. A corrupted servitor found scribbling heretical symbols, one wandering far from its assigned area, a unit repeating a location code linked to a forbidden vault. These elements can drive investigations, hint at hidden threats, or reveal the hidden hand of Heretics and Xenos technology. Players may not fear servitors themselves, but what they indicate, malfunction, blasphemy, or concealment, should put them on edge. For campaigns that emphasize moral consequence, servitors can also become personal. A converted NPC the players once knew, an injured ally whose only chance at survival is to become a lobotomized tool, or perhaps a servitor that seems to recognize a PC, repeating a private memory no one else could know. Such moments challenge players to consider the price of survival, the limits of loyalty, and the horror of what the Imperium calls salvation. Mechanicus-aligned characters may employ servitors directly, as support units, battlefield tools, or specialized followers. In these cases, servitors become functional assets with an edge of tension. They may follow commands too literally, fail to adapt to changing circumstances, or act on outdated routines. A servitor might continue executing an old command during a diplomatic negotiation, or apply medical treatment where none is needed. Their strengths can be leveraged, but their limitations should create friction, reminding players that even loyalty in the Imperium comes at a cost. Lastly, servitors can be used to tie scenes and factions together thematically. An auto-proxy model configured with an Achillean eye might mark a location as being of tactical interest to a battleclade. Servitors can silently hint at who's operating in the area, what their goals are, and what might happen next. In every role, environmental, narrative, mechanical, servitors in Wrath and Glory are more than mindless drones. They are narrative multipliers. When employed with care, they become metaphors for the Imperium itself, broken, enduring, useful, and utterly without mercy. In the Gilead system, as across the Imperium, servitors are not seen as tragic. They are seen as necessary. Lobotomized and mechanized, they are the solution to heresy, weakness, and inefficiency. In their hollow eyes and scarred limbs lies the truth of imperial dogma, that the worth of a person is measured only by how well they serve. Servitors reflect the Imperium's most horrifying ideal. That utility justifies obliteration, whether they stalk the manufacturum lines of Avacrus, rust in the flooded caverns of Charybdion, or whisper corrupted prayers aboard a warp-tainted space hulk. Their presence is constant. They do not complain. They do not rest. They endure. In Wrath and Glory, servitors are far more than simple enemies or mechanical minions. They are tools for storytelling, visual horror, emotional weight, environmental texture, and philosophical disquiet, all housed in one dehumanized shell. Their presence should unsettle. Their silence should speak volumes. Every servitor was once a person, a worker, a criminal, a priest. Now they are function made flesh, the cost of survival made visible. And in their quiet, mindless march, they offer a single, terrible promise that you too can still serve, even after everything else is gone.